My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC picks and DraftKings lineups run by professional fighters and MMA insiders. Every week, I join Nick Newell, professional fighter, professional model, and ESPN Top 10 guest, along with Dan Kramer, UFC fighter, Bellator fighter, Ultimate Fighter alumni, and Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. And we break down every single fight, the betting odds, the DraftKings picks, and we set you up for success. Next up at UFC 259, Blachowicz versus Adesanya, we have Islam Makhachev versus Drew Dober in what a much closer, tighter, more exciting fight than the odds will let you think that this is. So Nick and Jacob went back and forth on how they thought this fight would go sort of offline. So Nick, I'll let you go first here. Give us your thoughts. Who do you think wins this fight? You have Islam or Dober?
Well, I'm going to say this. I think that Islam will win this fight. He moves well. He strikes well. Obviously, his wrestling is amazing. His top pressure is fantastic. I think if he gets Dober to the ground, Dober is in trouble. Dober's weakness to me is his jiu-jitsu. So he's been submitted before. But I think that he's a different fighter now. I think he's really finding himself. It took him a lot longer than other fighters to really find himself. And he's got that one punch knockout power. I mean, he hits crazy hard and he's really good. The last time Makhachev got knocked out was versus another lefty who hits hard, but I don't think Dober hard. Dober moves around really well. He had Dariush in some trouble, but then later Dariush was able to catch him. I would favor Makhachev in this fight. I would pick him to win. Dober could put him out, though. I feel like it's a possibility that with Dober's power and his movement that he could catch him with a short hook and put him out. So if I had to throw money at this fight at 270, I'd put it on Dober, but I'm not putting this in my lineup.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think Drew Dober needs to keep it standing if he's going to win this fight. And I think he needs to fight in the pocket and make it dirty and use that power and make Islam pay every time Islam tries to take it to the ground. Because I think Dober is most vulnerable on the ground. I think Islam wins. I do not have him in my lineup, and I would not bet him at minus 330. But I do think he wins. It's an interesting fight. And Jacob, I'll let you talk about, you said you watched an interview where they talked about.
You said you have him in your lineup or no, Angelo?
I do not have him in my lineup. But Jacob, I'll let you go because you watched an interview about Islam and it touched on a few things that made some sense here.
Yeah, so the interview you're referencing, and Islam is my guy, by the way. He's one of the funniest dudes on earth. If you ever watch YouTubes of him interacting with Khabib, their boys, funniest dude in the world. But their coach, they have the same coach, has the same coach for the last 9 years. That coach said in the 9 years that he's been coaching Khabib in sparring, he's only seen Khabib lose a few rounds in sparring ever in 9 years. And he never said who that was. And he said this week that was Islam. Islam is the only person he's ever seen beat Khabib in a round in sparring. So Islam's got that for him. He's beat, one of the greatest fighters of all time. I'm just kind of going to wrap this into a question for all three of you guys, because you're all three wrestlers. It seems to me that the Khabib effect on people was, they get in the ring and their only thing they're ever thinking about is don't get taken down, don't get taken down, don't get taken down. And when I watch Drew Dober, especially against Alexander Hernandez, it seems like he has pretty good takedown defense. Is there ever a point where your takedown defense is good enough to where you're not even worried about getting taken down? That's what worries me about Drew Dober in this fight, is that he's already beaten. He's already thinking, I can't get taken down. I can't get taken down. I know Dan's known for his takedown defense. Do you ever get to a point where you're so good at takedown defense that you don't even think about don't get taken down? Can you just play? Can you fight your own fight? Or are you still just that worried about it against an unbelievable grappler like Islam?
I can jump in on that one. As far as fighting wrestlers and being a striker, it is challenging, right? Like, you have to have a game plan that balances your aggression, but also takes in mind the takedown without being too worried about the takedown that you're not aggressive. So it's a tricky spot to be in as a striker. I love takedown defense. That was like my favorite part of the game, defending takedowns against the cage. If I did get taken down, I always wanted to get up right away. I got pretty good at that. One of my first loss ever was against a good wrestler in Matt Riddle, and I hadn't wrestled much prior to that. And after that fight, I was like, I am never getting out wrestled again. So I trained that all day, every day for probably 3 years. But I ended up liking my takedown defense so much that I almost got too reliant on it. Like I'd back up to the cage, let guys wear themselves out trying to get a double leg against the cage, and then I built in some offense off there where I'd spin to the clinch and stuff like that. So it didn't really bother me too much because I always knew if I got taken down, I would get back up, and I had pretty good defense to prevent myself from getting taken down. But I was also never the level of striker that Drew Dober is, right? He throws fire, he commits to his shots, and he walks forward in a way that's going to leave him much more exposed than some other striking styles. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays this one. He's definitely the better striker. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He trains with Justin Gaethje at altitude, so I'm sure he's in good shape. His recent losses were to Dariush and Olivia Aubin-Mercier. So what was the factor in both of those fights? I think it was a little bit of wrestling. So that is the one concern, one of the main concerns I have with Drew Dober in this fight. I don't think Islam's going to let this be a striking fight. I don't think he's going to let him breathe. I think he's going to get on him early, clinch him, get on a leg, make it a grappling match. And to be honest, Islam's striking is not terrible. I don't think he's going to spar 3 rounds with him, but it's good enough to where he can maintain in those positions. On Islam, he definitely tries to control the distance, right? So when they are striking, he's going to try to stay out of range. But as soon as he gets in that range, it's going to be a wrestling match. So I think that has gotten Dober tired in the past. Granted, they were kind of all-out wars prior to that. But with Dariush taking him down, and then you mentioned it earlier, but Hernandez did take him down, I think more than once. So those 2 guys taking him down, I think Islam's going to definitely take him down and make it an ugly fight. So I'm not touching this for DraftKings at $9,400. If I had to bet on it, I don't know. This would be a no bet for me, but if I had to, I would just put it on the plus 270 for the upside that he lands a shot. But I think Islam's going to win this fight and just make it a grind, take him down, and make it an ugly fight.
Now, Dan, I've seen you fight a lot since that Riddle fight, and I think that he wouldn't be able to take you down now. With that
right
said,
now, he could definitely take me down because I'm about 210, and the hardest workout I had this week was the Peloton.
With that said,
#ad.
I think that you should be next in line for the WWE United States title. I think that you should rematch Matt Riddle in the WWE.
You know what? I thought about that. If if things start going south with my job and I'm not making money anymore, I might just I'll do one of those where I come out from under the ring with a steel chair and just out of nowhere clock him with it. That's still a thing in WWE, or is that was the coolest thing back in the day? I think now the steel chairs are probably not as cool anymore.
No, you got to get him with a sledgehammer now.
Yeah, sledgehammer, right? Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, speaking of Matt Riddle, man, he's done some amazing things since the UFC, huh? He's like a legit WWE like top level guy now, isn't he? I keep hearing that. I don't follow it that closely, but I keep hearing he's like pretty much like one of the A or B level guys up there.
Yeah, he's doing well. I mean, that's for another day, but first we need to get that rematch for the title so you could be that guy.
Okay. Let him know. Somebody contact his agent.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Ladder match.
Yeah, for sure. Hell in a Cell.
Right.
Well, either way, we pretty much think this is a straightforward fight for Islam, but it's not an easy fight. Drew Dober is tough. Drew Dober has some threats, and he can end this fight on his feet. Again, we'll see what happens. This is another exciting one for UFC 259. Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.